Z-Boy, I just heard the greatest joke. Would you like to hear it?
No, not really, but you're probably gonna tell me anyway, huh?
Exactly. Have you heard about the new skater-focused home improvement show?
No, I didn't.
It's called Shove It or List It. Get it? Because there's an HGTV show called Love It or List It, and Shove It it's like a skateboard trick.
Yeah, bud, I get it. It's just not funny.
So you've landed your first ollie, or maybe you're close to landing that first ollie, but you're starting to think, what trick should I learn next? Well, in my personal opinion, I think shove-its are a great second trick to learn, or a great trick to focus on if you're getting sick of messing up ollies constantly. Okay, so what is a shove-it anyway? Well, a shove-it is simply just a half rotation of your board. It's a great second trick to learn because it doesn't require that you have that ollie 100% down. It also will help you get used to rotating the board beneath you, which, in case you're brand new to skateboarding, is like 50% of tricks, maybe even more. So yeah, shove-it is just a simple half rotation of the board. It's super cool, it's super fun, pretty simple to be honest, compared to a lot of other tricks. Why am I wasting your time? Let me show you how to do one. Okay, so I lied. Before I can teach you how to do a shove-it, kind of have to give you a quick terminology lesson. So welcome to the school of Z-Boy. Go Tigers. It was the first mascot I could think of. Give me a break. If you're fairly new to skateboarding, you may have heard of the trick a pop shove-it. And you may be wondering, is a pop shove-it any different than just a shove-it? And yeah, there is a difference. You see, a shove-it is a simple half rotation of the board. It doesn't require an ollie because the board doesn't go that high into the air, and it's more of just spinning the board around while it's on the ground, even though it does get like a little bit of air. A lot of times with shove-its, the board stays on this horizontal plane. But a pop shove-it has an ollie built into it, and it typically goes a little higher in the air, and the board is typically a little more slanted when you're doing a stinky old pop shove-it. Essentially, the easiest way to remember it is that a shove-it is kind of ground-based, when a pop shove-it is going to be more air-based. Hopefully you can see a difference between a regular shove-it and a pop shove-it here in these video clips that I provided. I know I had to show you some visuals because some of y'all are visual learners and I'm a lice boy, and I said lice boy. I've got lice in my hair. I do not actually have lice in my hair. I wanted to clear that up before I went any further. Okay, so hopefully that clears up the confusion between a shove-it and pop shove-it. Now let's learn this dang thing. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you don't need to know any other tricks to do a shove-it, but there are a couple that could help you out. The first trick is an ollie, and like I said, you don't need to know how to do an ollie, but it helps because it helps you get used to like doing weird things with your feet that you're not really used to. But also for a shove-it, you're kind of in the same foot positioning as an ollie, so at least know the foot positioning for an ollie. That's the bare minimum. Essentially, the closer you are to landing ollies, the easier this trick will be, but for the millionth time, it ain't required, bud. The second trick that I'd recommend you at least trying a few times before you start doing shove-its is a manual, and that's because manuals are big on quick weight adjustments, and that's pretty much a shove-it, to be honest. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and learn those two tricks first, it'll make your shove-its 10 times easier, but if you ain't got patience for that, then that's cool too. But again, you don't need to know any other tricks, those will just help you out a lot. You can do whatever you want. You got free will. Go nuts. Okay, so now let's talk about foot positioning. Like I said earlier, the foot positioning for this trick is a lot like an ollie, except your back foot might be on the tail edge a little bit more, like just a tad. But that's completely up to you if you want to do that. I do that because I feel like I can grip the tail a little bit more on the edge to spin it around, but that's just me. It may not work for you. As far as your front foot positioning goes, it just needs to be somewhere in the middle of the board, maybe a little bit closer to those top bolts. As you'll learn quickly, this trick is 90% back foot. Your front foot is only gonna do one tiny little thing, and we'll get to that in a minute. So your back foot is gonna do this half circle shoving motion, which is why we call it a shove-it. So before you even jump on your board, you gotta figure out how your back foot is gonna do this half circle rotation. So don't even get on your board yet. The easiest way I can explain it is think of it like a scissor kick, but with just your back foot. So you might look like a clown doing this, but just trust me, from one clown to another, this will help, hopefully. Just practice hopping and doing a scissor kick with just your back foot on the concrete, and just do that a few times, just so you can kind of see what your foot's gonna be doing. Once you've embarrassed yourself enough trying that, go back to your board and put your back foot on the tail of the board and do that same motion again, but this time keep your front foot on the ground. To help get the shoving motion started, think of it one of two ways. First, pretend that there is some gum on the bottom of your shoe and you're trying to scrape it off with the tail of your board. But don't actually get gum on your shoe and do that, because that'd be buck wild. The second thing to try to do is to try to get the tail of the board as close as possible to the ground and at the last second, spinning it away. Shove-its are typically more of a horizontal trick, so you don't really need to pop the tail necessarily, but doing this practice will help you kind of get a grip of the tail to help you spin it around. This technique really helps me, so hopefully it makes sense and helps you too. Quick tip though, before you even start practicing shoving the board with your back foot, make sure you're cautious of where your front foot is, because you don't want to hit that ankle first thing in the morning and then you're sad and in pain all day. It's going to take a lot of practice to get the shove-it motion started, but don't get frustrated, just keep practicing it. You're new to skateboarding, and skateboarding requires you to do a lot of weird things with your feet, so don't stress out. So what is your front foot doing while your back foot is doing this shoving motion? Well, the front foot doesn't do a whole lot in this trick, which is another reason why I recommend this trick for beginners. The only thing your front foot is really going to do is go on up and come on down. The biggest thing to focus on with your front foot is just making sure you are committing. Don't start the shoving motion and then immediately put your front foot on the ground. No, just commit. Make it go up, make it come down. If you're having troubles committing, just really focus on getting that front foot higher than your back foot, so then you have to commit. So once you got the shoving motion down with your back foot and you know your front foot's gonna commit as heck, it's time to put it all together. So now it's time to put everything together and start practicing with both your feet on the board. So once you're on the board, we're gonna do that exact same shoving motion you were just practicing with your back foot. The only difference this time is we're going to do a little hop right before we shove the board. And while we're doing that little hop, make sure you are completely centered with your board. Just because this trick is 90% back foot, do not lean back towards the tail. If you lean too far back when you're doing this little hop and shoving motion, your board's gonna go bye-bye. It's gonna fly off to Paris or something. Again, hop straight up with the board and try to keep all your weight centered directly beneath you. I'd also recommend right before you jump to twist up your body a little and then unleash that twist right when you hop. This will help you get that board spinning. However, remember, a shove-it requires very little power. Don't twist up too much and release it, otherwise you're gonna over-rotate your board. Okay, so this has been a lot of steps, so let's review this real quick before we go any further. First, we're gonna twist our body just a tad, and then we're gonna jump straight up from your board. As you jump, shove the board slightly to get it spinning. Commit, don't back out, don't put your foot on the ground immediately, and land back down. Again, skateboard tricks require a lot of trial and error. You may not get it on your first day of practicing, and that's okay. If you're having a lot of troubles with this trick, pop on over to the grass and try it there and see if that helps out. Or if you have a spare skateboard deck without trucks or wheels on it, you can practice on that too. Since a shove-it doesn't require you to do an ollie at all, this is a very easy trick to practice on just a deck without any trucks or wheels, because you don't need any pop or anything. I would say there are two hard parts on getting this trick down, so I just want to warn you about them so you can expect them. The first is figuring out how much power to give the board to make it spin. It may take a little while to figure out how much power to give the board to get it in that shoving, spinning motion, but you can simply just keep your front foot on the ground and with your back foot, just keep practicing that shoving motion all day long. I've been doing shove-its for years, and to this day, I still sometimes over-rotate or under-rotate my board. Consistency is a weird thing with skateboarding. But just keep practicing and trying to figure out how much force you need to give the board to make it spin around. If it's spinning too much, ease up a little. If it's not spinning enough, put more power to it. I mean, it's basic physics, y'all. I didn't go to school for science, so it might not be basic physics. Who knows? The other hard part about this trick is just trying to put everything together. Like I mentioned earlier, this may be your first or second real skateboard trick. Skateboarding requires you to focus on a lot of moving parts all at the same time. Sometimes I think of skateboarding like playing the piano. When you see someone rocking the old ivory keys, their hands are doing two completely different things at the same time, but when you step back and listen to it, it sounds how you say beautiful. The point is, you just may not be used to doing two different things with your feet at the same time, but just keep practicing, man. That's the moral of the story. So that's how you do a shove it. Just keep practicing it. Don't give up. Don't get frustrated. Again, it's gonna take some time of practice, but I believe in you. I mean, if this clown can do one, surely you can do one. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please give this video a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more skateboard tips like this in the future. Also, recently I launched 2 new skateboard designs over on the Midnight Snack Skateboards website. We've got this very cool pinball arcade skateboard deck, as well as a very delicious looking mozzarella stick skateboard deck. Both those designs were done by my good friend Paul Meyer. He also did the Dino Nuggets grip tape design, which was seen in this video. Again, thank you so much for watching, and as always, have fun, good luck, and keep shredding the gnar.